All right, thank you, Dina, for joining me today. Today we're going to go over everything like booking within Vax Vacation Access. I know you said that you had a question regarding pulling up reservations within Vax2, so let's go ahead and start out with that. So, in your member services, there's a top right button right next to where it says groups. It's a little sprocket. If you click on that and click on where it says member services, it'll take you to a different screen. You are able to pull up reservations from here. You have administration tools as well. So if you click on retrieve reservations, we'll go ahead and click on that and kind of show you where you're at. So you and Rainey, are you guys the ones that will have admin access? All right, so from here, you guys will be able to pull up any reservation that you have made under your account number. There's tons of different ways to actually pull up a reservation. On the left-hand side, if you have your reservation number, you can pull it up that way. So if you have an independent contractor with you, they're not going to be able to pull up other people's reservations except for their own. You and Rainey with the admin access can pull up everything. So you guys can pull up by passengers' names if you choose to, first and last name, booking date. So if you don't remember the booking dates, you can set it to, I remember last week I made the reservation, I don't know the reservation number. So you can filter it by dates. If you remember the departure dates, I remember they were traveling sometime the first week of April. So you can set it for that as well if you choose to. On the main Vax page, if you do not select a specific supplier, you have the option to select different brands within Appalachia Group to pull up those bookings. So we're really focusing on FunJet, so you'd select FunJet. You can filter by origin, destination. If you have a promo code attached to the reservation, you can pull those up too. So here is where you'd be able to pull up by agent. So for here, because we have a training, a specific training account number, I can pull up, let's say, anything made by one of my coworkers, Clint. I can pull up anything made by Anthony, who's another one of my coworkers. So wherever Anthony is right here, I can pull up anything by Anthony or myself. If you want to search by, here's all my active reservations or booked or canceled reservations, you can search those booking statuses. But one thing I want to do first is I'm going to put in my name here. So search by reservations I made with FunJet. So if we use that search function, it'll pull up, I don't have any reservations that are active, so let's pull up any. So we have some canceled reservations in here, I'm sure. So here we go, bunch of canceled reservations. A cool thing with this retrieve reservation function is if you hit export to Excel, let me go ahead and do that real quick. There'll be an Excel file that pulls up. It pulled up on a different screen, so let's go over here. I'll move it over. So here's all my reservations that I made. And from here, you have different filters that you can use. If you just go with the Vax page, you can do your supplier, but because it's FunJet, it's only going to pull FunJet. Number of passengers, the passengers' names, booking dates, departure dates. So you can filter all this if you choose to. Number of nights, origin, your destination. But the real neat thing is if I scroll over here, for me, I like this for telling me when my bookings are due. So there's a payment due date option here. So you can select your due date. So it's pulled up everything for me and it tells me when they're due. So you can see what's due when. So you can mark it on your calendar, however you choose to. So that's my biggest thing with this option is, hey, I can see when my payments are due. I think that's fantastic. Makes things easier. You can also, under commission, you can really highlight all this and add it up to see what that agent's or your company's commissions is for the year. You'll be able to see that as well, as far as you'll get those invoices when everything's paid out as well. But those are my two biggest things that I really like about this. And then if you go to the far right, it'll tell you who it's booked by. So you can filter it. So for me, because we just searched for me, it's just my name in here. But if they had Bob or Sally or whoever, you can filter it down to whoever. So those are the couple things that I really like about this retrieve reservation function, is it kind of gives you a little bit more admin work as well. But, so let's X out of there. And okay. So there we go. So let's go back to our member services. If you click on payment due notices, same thing. It'll tell you what reservations payments are due. So I click on it. It tells us the due date, the payment status, the reservation numbers, everything like that, departure dates. So you can do it this way too. So that's another way to do it. Or under member services, if you click on ACH advisements and you click on a reservation number or first and last name, it'll tell you any payouts for your commission, when it was done, everything like that. So you signed up for a direct deposit, right? Perfect. So that's what the ACH advisement is for direct deposit. And so you'll be able to view that as well. So there's a lot of neat little admin tools in this area. So let's go back here. If you go under agency preferences, you can select which suppliers you want to show. So if you don't want them to have access to Apple Vacations, you can move that over to where you don't want it to show. Travel Impressions, United Vacations, whatever you choose. So you can go that route too. Or if you want to go under, let's see here, manage users. You can add your users in here, or you can remove them or lock their account and so forth like that. So because you have the admin access, there's a lot of things that you're going to be able to do on your side, but your individual agents aren't going to be able to do. They can't do anything like this. The only thing they can do is pull up their own reservations. So let's go ahead and get into the FunJet Vacations page. Before we go into anything else, do you have any other questions? Okay. So with a basic reservation, you're familiar with how to look at expand for room categories and look at profiles, correct? Okay, so I'll go ahead. I'll skip that part of it. I'll show you some filters and the agency fees and the sales email. A lot of people don't know about the sales email, and same with the comparing itinerary. Just because if you're comfortable with how to expand the hotel to see the room categories, I don't want to waste your time doing all that when we can get into things that are going to be beneficial for you. So I'm just going to go in here and put in an origin and destination. So let's go Chicago O'Hare, and let's go Cancun. And one thing to point out is specifically for Cancun, you see a bunch of different airport codes here. You've probably figured this out in the past on your own, but if you do specifically where it says Cancun hotels, where it says CU2 as the airport code, you're only going to pull up Cancun hotels. Same thing below, only Riviera Maya hotels. The only thing for that is it's great to narrow things down just for the area, but if you have to go in and modify things, so let's say you book just a Cancun hotel, and they want to change over to, let's say, a Secrets Acapulco, which is going to be more in the Riviera Maya area, you're not going to be able to because you filtered it and booked it specifically just for Cancun hotels. So for me personally, I just use the Cancun and Riviera Maya one. Everyone's a little different. You can get the 4 rooms and up to 8 passengers on one reservation. That includes the children. Booking infants. If you click on where it says book infant, it'll give you information about how to. So an infant is anyone under the 2 years old. You want to put in IN for the child's age. So let's say we have one child, but it's an infant. On here where it's IN, that's going to be a lap child. So they're not going to pay for a ticket. If you select a specific age, so in this case, let's say 1, you're going to be booking a seat for that 1-year-old. Yes. Yes. All right, so let's select some dates that are further on out. Let's go February 11th, let's say 5 nights. If you have a promotion code, this is where you're going to enter your promotion code. And Clint showed you where to find all that information right in the toolbar. Okay, awesome. And I always add the travel protection prior because it's always easier to remove rather than add. And let's go ahead and hit search. And so what's going to happen is it's going to pull up our hotels. And just wait now, just bear with me a few. Any day now. There we go. Gotta love technology sometimes. All right, so it's going to pull up your hotels. It's going to currently select one for you. So it's always going to select your preferred hotels. So preferred are going to be more your AMR properties. So obviously you can expand your hotels. So let's go ahead and I just want to click on a different room category because of something, and I'll show you that in 1 second. All right, so it currently has selected this Allure Junior Suite Ocean View. Right above that select button, it says exclusive nonstop vacation flights. Those are our charters. So this room category is specific for our charters. Yes, you probably might have some customers down the road that will go out of these. Those are going to be the best options for you because it's going to make the most money for you. So you'd get a full fit. We have some Sun Country ones, I believe. And were you shown the charter destination search? Are you familiar with it? Because we can go over that. Okay. Yes. Yes, there will be. But Dallas, I believe it would be on Sun Country. Yeah, and it would be probably seasonal. I mean, Dallas, it used to be a huge market for the charters, but I don't think it's really been there that much, so we don't have it year-round anymore. Yeah, yeah. So, because if I just leave this here, it's probably not going to let me select a different flight. But, and I'll show you that real quick. So, let's go ahead and collapse this. So, if I click on my outbound flight, it's only going to give us our Frontier option out of Chicago, which is our charters, because that room category is associated and specifically has a rate for these flights. So if you ever get that, you're going to have to just change your room category. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so I'm going to select the one that doesn't have the exclusive nonstop vacation flights right above the select button. So we're going to do the Allure Junior Suite Ocean View Double. So let's go ahead and hit select there. Well, it's thinking. All right, come on. All right, it's acting a little goofy, but we can kind of go forward from there. We'll get to that later on. So you have your sort by options, which are great for me. I'm used to sorting everything alphabetically. which you can do. So you have your preferred, you got your price point, price high to low, low to high, alphabetically. You can narrow it down by closest to the airport or furthest from the airport, location, and by rating. I prefer to use the filter on the left-hand side, though. All these filters over here on the left-hand side. So for these specific dates, yeah, okay. So, yes, I don't know where specifically the port is for, like, let's say in Cancun, but there's points of interest further down. So there might be something in there for that depending on the destination. So you can always look at it that way too. But with this filter on the left-hand side, you can view things on a map if you choose to. It's great. Sometimes it takes a little bit to pull up just because it's trying to locate everything on the map, but then you're going to be able to see exactly which location it is. And where it says hotel name, if you filter it this way, it could be a little easier. So let me just do Secrets Aqua. So if I type out Secrets, it's going to pull all the ones that are available. If it doesn't pull up here, it's not available. So if I select a specific, it could be both. There are properties that we don't offer. So if you typed in a property we don't offer, it won't pull. But if it's sold out, it won't pull either. So in this case, let's go ahead and do Secrets Akumal. It'll filter specifically to that property. If you need to remove that filter, just remove it and hit find again. And then it'll take you back to all the properties. You can filter by price point with this blue bar right here. So you can move the bar to wherever you need. So this one right now is at 4,700, or it's going to keep going. 4,425. It dropped it down to 149 hotels. So you can narrow things down that way. You can go based off a star rating. You can go based by hotel amenities, experience. So let's say they want adults only. Oh, okay. Let's click on adults only. It's going to narrow it down to 35 properties. So you have a bunch of different ways to narrow things down if you choose to. Maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, the filter options weren't as easy to use as they are now. So I'm very happy that things are updated, that you can use these filters now, because I think this is how I do it, and I think it's great. It's a lot easier. So I'm just going to go ahead. Let's do a different property. That just doesn't have those non-stops for that option. And it looks like my computer's just slow, so I'm sorry. So you're familiar of it. Well, it's still better than the dial-up that we used to have back in the day. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it looks like this thing's just kind of frozen up a little bit. So let's try something else real quick. Let me look into a different box real quick. Try it. All right, let's go here. Let's go to the FunJet page. Let's do something a little bit different. Let's do Dallas Fort Worth. But before we even go further, I'll show you that nonstop vacation place search. So it's right up here. It used to say Charter Destiny. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, well, I hope she had an okay time. Hmm. So just a little different for her. Just you're gonna get the basics. It's all price point with them. Hey, no, she has a new experience and she knows what she does not like. Yeah, right. Go figure. All right, so I'm just gonna put in some other dates in here real quick. Let's go to Dallas. Let's go ahead and hit search again. Just because it looks like it froze up on me, which does happen. All right, so let's go. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead. Just select the hotel. So I'm just gonna go ahead and hit the Allure Junior Suite double, and then we can go into our flights and everything else. Right. There we go. I think it's updating now. There we go. Yay. All right, so once you select your hotel, it's going to get into your flights. You have your options to narrow down your flights as well. So you have 60 flights that are pulling. You can narrow it down by your price point again, departure time, arrival time. So let's go morning departure. So it narrowed it down to 32. Now, if you're looking for a number of stops, you can do non-stops, one stop, two stops. Typically, that's going to be the most stops that you're going to have just because of customer experience. We do not get those to pull through. Yeah. So under your member services, you do have user preferences that you can do. Typically, it's going to be by airport. I don't think I've seen by specific airline, but you yeah. Let me do this. Interjet. It's a. Let's go back into member services real quick. So this would be under user preference. You can do origin, destination. Yeah, origin or destination. It doesn't give you anything else. So you're just going to have to use your filters where you can narrow that down. Yeah, so we're going to select our flights. Anything that has blue, like blue and underlined, you can click on it. So if I click on flight number 1001, it's going to tell you the specifics of it. So it's going to tell you the number of stops, the arrival terminal, the flight duration, the type of equipment it is, so forth like that. Same thing with if you hover over something that's got little dots underneath, it'll kind of display everything from there. You will see this pay monthly option. Some people do it, some people do not. So if you click on it, it'll give you a little bit more information. So we offer something called Uplift, where the customers actually fill out an application and they can get a loan and pay Uplift a monthly fee. Some people do it just because of the fact it might be lower in interest rate than their current credit card. So that is an option there for them if they choose to. But some people do not like that. So I filtered this down to nonstop options. So I like this 1045. I'm just going to click on the 1045. And then you can filter your return flight. So I want an afternoon return flight. I want a nonstop. So let's go filter it down again. So this 4 p.m. works fine for me. Go hit select. So here's your basic itinerary screen. So from here, you can proceed to check out and then book, but we're going to kind of play on this screen a little bit. So from here, what we're going to do is you can add features, or you can remove features if you choose to. And all you do is click on the features, scroll down, and you can filter your features if you choose to. You got your sightseeing tours. Yeah. Good job. Penalty waiver is essentially the same thing as just for those charter flights. I would not select it because it doesn't cover scheduled air. So kind of something, a heads up for you as well. First week of December, the travel protections are all going to be one under the same thing for all brands. So currently Apple has like an AVOK option. And yep, so Travel Impressions has something else different too. United Vacations something different, Funjet different. Everything's going to be the same between all brands now. So it's going to follow the TI model, the Travel Impressions model, where it's going to be tiered based off of your actual total overall pricing. So, yes. And the nice thing is, so I don't know if you've done Europe a lot. So, okay, so yeah, you have a ton of options with Funjet. They fly basically pretty much almost anywhere. So for Europe, for example, you have a cancel for any reason option, but it's not like how it is with this, where you cancel for any reason is, as long as it's a covered reason, you'll get your money back, less that travel protection, but you got to file a claim. They also have an option where you can cancel for any reason with the cash back option, which is 75% of your penalties. So it's a little bit confusing. That's going away, where it's just going to be a straight cancel for any reason, tiered pricing. So it makes things a little bit easier. December 2nd is when that takes place. So just kind of giving you a heads up with it. Not many people know about it, but we're telling our accounts that we're working with that, hey, things are going to change for it, and I think it's for the better. All right, so here's your pricing stamp on the right-hand side. You're probably pretty familiar with that. Again, blue and underlined, you can click on taxes and fees and see what's included and what's not included in your taxes and fees. Mexico, you don't really have to worry about much. Terms and conditions, you can click on the terms and conditions and it'll take you to the Bill of Rights. Additional baggage charges, it'll take you to a screen where you would find your actual specific carrier. You click on that link, it takes you to the airline's website for their baggage policy. You can email and print your itinerary, which I'm sure you've probably emailed an itinerary to a customer. One thing I want to point out is we're going to look at the create sales email. So the sales email is you can get up to 6 hotels or different room categories on an itinerary, up to 3 rental cars, and 6 features. So if your customers are looking for different properties, you don't have to send them an itinerary for each property. You can get it all on one. So we're going to go ahead and create a sales email. And all you do is click on create sales email. And so it'll say preview sales email. So now is basically like your a la carte option. You can't do anything with the flights. It's all based off of one airline flight that you choose. But if we go back into hotels, let's do that real quick. Right below the select button, it'll say add to sales email. So here's your a la carte option of which hotels you want to your sales email. So let's say they want Breathless Riviera. I'm going to add that to my sales email. You can add different room categories. So let's click on that plus sign and click a different room category. Let's do the ocean view. Add to sales email. Let's go down to a different property now, Secrets of the Vine. Add to sales email. Let's scroll down. Let's do another one. Eldorado Royale. Add to sales email. So you can do different properties. You can do a mix of 2 room categories for 3 different properties. So as long as you can just get a max of 6. So we added all that to our sales email. Now let's go ahead and collapse that. Now let's add our features. What features do we want a la carte to our sales email? Right, I'm going to add that all-in-one travel protection. I'm going to put this transportation option on here, but I'm also going to add the private transfers on here so they can see the difference. It's $59 to upgrade to a private transfer, so they can kind of see that. Now let's see about adding a tour on here. Let's do Dolphin Encounter. Add to sales email. So we added some features on there. Now whatever you have on there, you can just hit preview sales email. And you can send up to 10 recipients. I always recommend sending it to yourself as well, so they can't say, hey, you didn't send me one, and be like, yeah, I did, here you go. Don't worry about where it says marketing banners, but you can put in your own wording in here if you choose to. So here's kind of the information. It gives you your passenger information. It says to adults. It gives you your flights, your dates, and then below it will be what your package total is for your base package. So Air and Hotel is Air and Hotel for your base package. So these prices you see are going to be for your air and hotel costs. It will sort everything by price point, so least expensive to most. From there, if you scroll down more, it'll put your features in here. It'll tell you your cost for your features. Pretty soon, I think next week, the travel protection will be up here more with the hotel, so you can see what the cost is of the travel protection included. So that's going to be an enhancement that's coming up too. So the one cool thing is, once you sign up, as long as you sign up for a GoFundJet site or the affiliate site, you can email this to your customers and they can book from this email. So you don't have to be in the office to do it. You can send them this itinerary on a Friday night before you leave work. They get it. Oh, okay, I want to book it. They can go on and book it. It still counts towards your agency. Yep. Exactly. So it links up. Yeah, you're working 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. Yeah. It's called GoFundJet. Yep, Geo. Yep. I believe Clint sent you that link as well on how to sign up, if you haven't already. So that would be something worth it for you because you can make money without even really doing much. So the customers are going to be able to select the profile by clicking on the hotel name. They'll be able to look in there as well to see what the hotel looks like, the bedding options, the dining, the activities, and so forth. Another nice feature about the sales email is a lot of times you're going to give your customers the sales email, and you know as well as anybody, if you give them pricing, they're going to shop around, and they don't look at the overall experience. Up here, right below where it says marketing banners, if you deselect where it says show prices, it will refresh. Exactly. And then it's going to not give them the pricing. So they can say, okay, great, Breathless Riviera, I really like that property. Can you price it out for me? Sure. So it gives that option too. So not many people know about this sales email option, and I think it's a fantastic thing because it saves you guys time, which is money. All right, so let's X out of there. And you also are able to add an agency fee if you choose to the reservations. And that's just something called booking administration. So if you click on that, all right, so this screen isn't fully expanding, but you'll see what your gross is, what your commission is, what your net amount is. You can increase your commission by whatever amount you want. So let's say we're doing 300 because your customers, you've been working with them for 3 months. They just can't make up their mind. So we can add 300. You can display it as a line item if you choose to, but most people will not. And if you hit set commission, you'll see now the gross went up $300, but the commission did not. So anytime you add an agency fee, Apple Leisure Group does have a 10% processing fee for that. So if it's $300, it would be $30. If it's $100, it's $10, and so forth. So just keep that in mind. If you ever need to remove an agency fee, just put a 0 in there, or 0.00, hit set commission, and it'll remove it. So you can do that. So from here, what we're going to do is now go ahead and get that if you need to. Okay. So now what we're going to do is compare itineraries. So comparing itineraries will give you a side-by-side comparison of dates and so forth like that. So let's say we want to search for the week after. So let's do the 21st. So you're going to price out your 21st. And we'll still do 5 nights. And we're going to hit search. I'm not going to go through the whole selecting the components, but what you would do is you would select the components that you want, and then I'll kind of show you this feature. I love this feature because it makes things easier. So let's get that pulled up. All right, let's see here. Just waiting on that. All right, it's thinking. There we go. All right, so I'm just going to keep these Interjet flights in here. Not really too worried about it. I just want to show you the functionality of the compare itinerary. So right below your booking administration button, you can see where it says recent searches. So what you can do is compare your searches. So you would just click on this compare area. So this is the 21st to the 26th. I want to compare the 14th of January search I had through the 19th. And once you hit the other one, at the bottom it'll say compare. So you can get up to 3 itineraries on a comparing an itinerary. So once you hit the compare button, it'll give you a side-by-side. It'll go over your package type, the cities, your dates, how many people, the hotel, the room type, departure, return flight, if you have a car, any add-ons, things like that, and they give you a total pricing. You can view administrative information, which is your commission, and it gives you the total price. You can also go here and hit select, and it'll take you back to that itinerary. It should take you to that itinerary, so let's see if that updates. That's not an email option, but you can take a print screen and send that over. All right, so it didn't take me to my screen, so that's kind of something I'm going to have to report. So it should take you to that initial screen that you wanted to book. I'm going to go back to that itinerary, though. So that was my second itinerary. If you click on whatever itinerary you want, it'll take you back there. I'm going to go ahead and book this because we're going to actually do some modifications, too. And I'm sorry if it's a little bit loud because we're actually in the middle of moving buildings. So people are moving back over to this building. All right. Oh, well, that's not good. I don't hear any static at all. I'm sorry. Okay, so your travel protections, you have to have a travel protection option selected, whether they want it, the penalty waiver, or the decline. You have the option to add travel protection 7 days after initial deposit, or up until 45 days. So if you're right now, you actually would have to call into the call center. So that's right now. Also on 12.2 is going to be a new feature where it'll allow you to add it in backs on your own. So that's one less call you got to make, and you'll be able to do. And you. Yeah, I mean, you never know. I mean, even my brother, when he wants to go somewhere, hey, do this, and he never books travel protection. I had it on, I paid it for him because I'm not gonna let something happen to him and I gotta cancel. So, well, your flights are non-refundable at this point. Your hotel's non-refundable. I can't do anything. So you just lost out on however much your package is, rather than spending the $260. So it will make you, yeah, exactly, and it's just a good peace of mind. And it's got a bunch of different benefits too, like lower price guarantee. If that hotel goes down, reselect the hotel for the lower rate. You have to cancel for any reason. It's got $100 commission protection for you. As long as the reservation is paid in full and let's say the cancel, instead of just getting the commission for that travel protection, you get $100. So as long as your commission is $100 or more, you'll get that. If it's $50, you'll get the $50. But so it's got a bunch of different benefits for it as well. All right, so then below we have your names. You would enter your first names. Let's just make a booking quick. I'm just going to enter some random stuff in here. Because what we're going to do is modify things too. So also, we're going to kind of go over this too, like special service requests and frequent flyer information. Ask for it at time of booking because you will not be able to add it after the booking has been made. Because what will happen is most of the things are on a specific booking link. So after the reservation's made, it won't go over through to the hotel or the airline after it's been made. So if this is the case, so if I forget to add my American Airlines Advantage number after it's been made, I just have to go into AmericanAirlines.com and enter it. No big deal. You can always add passport numbers later on down the road. I would again recommend doing it on the airline's website. It's not recommended at time of travel or at time of booking because when they check in for the flights, they're going to have to update it anyhow. But it's not something that's needed for booking. So below is your itinerary tools. So you can add special service requests to the hotel, let's say. If you expand that and click on hotel requests, you can make your bedding request or your room request. So non-smoking room, let's say. Say they have a special occasion of a birthday. If you have additional remarks, put in VIP customers or whatever it may be. If you Yep, you can enter that there. So I think I kind of skipped over this. So let's go back up to the hotel real quick. You can see hotel promotions here as well. So this one says like receive $200 resort coupons. A lot of times if you do like the anniversary or honeymoon packages, if you click on it, it'll tell you what you need to enter at time of booking in order to do it. So in this case, enter newlyweds or anniversary in that special service request area. If it's after the booking, you'll just have to reach out to us and we'll reach out to the hotel to have them add that remark. So that's where you would make these remarks if you need to. You can enter internal comments for your own viewing if you need to. So you can enter that. Whatever you choose. These are notes for you. So customers declined Customers won't see it. So you could put it in there, customers decline travel protection. We do not. We thought about it. The person that actually, that's actually a good question. One of my team members does kind of more of the education page and all the content. He came up with something like that, but we would have to go through legal and everything. So right now we do not have anything like that. So here's where you can apply a payment or a promo code again if you choose to, if you forgot to enter it at the initial search screen. Here's your payment information. It does look a little screwy, so I'm going to break it down into two separate areas. The first two, so total amounts of payment and balance due. That's the payment they actually have on the reservation. So deposit due for this one is deposit due on the 20th of October, and here's the amount of the deposit. That's not going to change unless you make a modification down the road, then it'll change it to whatever that date is. Full payment is when the reservation is due by and the total amount of the reservation. So in this scenario, let's say they pay that $461.98 deposit. It would show $461.98. Okay, so that's the amount of payment. The deposit was $461.98. The deposit satisfied. So it's not going to show deposit due of $0. So some people do get confused on that. So let's go ahead and I'm going to put something in here. Let's say it's my brother going with me. He's not a female, so let's just do this. So we're just going to make the reservation. Also, you can schedule an email reminder on here as well, so you can pick a date prior to when the finals due. So let's say the final payment is due on the 30th of November. Let's say we want to schedule a reminder on the 25th, so that Monday. Then you would just enter the email address in here. I would send it to you. I mean, it's really your preference, because I'm going to show you something after the booking's created that you can send to the customers. So this is just kind of something, okay, sending to you, okay, payment's coming up. Or you can just manually add it. Here's your terms and conditions, and we'll go ahead and complete this reservation. So this is, a lot of this is probably just stuff you already know. But some of the things people aren't aware of that the system actually has. Alright, so let's wait for this reservation to populate. Alright, so we have a reservation number right up here. On the right-hand side, you have a refund request, so if you cancel your reservation, you can click on where it says refund request and submit the refund. Or if, let's say, a month down the road, the hotel goes down in price, you rebook the hotel for the lower rate, go in there and submit the refund. And we can even say, and you don't have to rebuild the booking because obviously with scheduled airfare, you really can't reselect it without airline penalties. So obviously, if let's say the flights go down $30, that's not going to be worth using their travel protection over, because that travel protection will cover those air penalties. If it goes down $600, yeah, definitely just rebook it. We'll move those funds. Then they can get that travel protection at half cost again. But you would go and it'll show you. You'd have to go into the package. A lot of times customers will say, "Oh, I saw my package go down," and basically what they're doing is they're rebooking it at whatever the current rates are, but you can go into the hotel portion. Price match, if they tell you, oh, I found it on Expedia for lower, well, make the reservation. It gives you the information that you need to send over to match it against Expedia. With Expedia, yes, because depending on the property, Expedia typically pays out 5% commission. we would cap your commission. So you're making 15% on that land portion because you're in our program, so you're receiving top commission. And we would cap it at 10%. So you'd still get more commission than you would have if you booked with Expedia directly. So pretty much. And you also have a payment request. So if you click on this payment request here, here's where we were talking about how you can send a reminder to your customers. Correct. Mm-hmm. So this is a payment link. This payment link is good for 24 hours. You can send this payment link to your customers. They can click on the link. Yep, where it says payment request. So it's a payment link. Customers click on it. They can pay their reservation. It's good for 24 hours. If it's outside that 24 hours, you would just have to resend it over to them. And all it is you can just say payment due. It tells you your to email address, your from email address, so it'd be yours. And simple as that. Just say payment is required. So not many people do that, but that's an option for you. So now, exactly. So now what we're going to do is some basic modifications. Have you gone into a reservation and made changes before? Okay. Well, there's a lot of things that you're going to be able to do by yourself. If it's scheduled airfare and it's already ticketed, you're not going to be able to make those changes. Before payment, you can go in and change flights. You can, at any time, even after payment, you can change your hotel. You can add or remove features. You just wouldn't be able to remove the travel protection because that's non-refundable. So we're just going to do some of those changes real quick. And it's pretty simple. So we're going to go under modifications, under itinerary tools, and change component. So we're going to change components of the reservation, which are whether it's land only or air and hotel. That's what the components are: airfare, hotel, features, rental car, etc. So let's say the customer wants to go in and upgrade the room category on this one. You click on hotels. So here's our current room category we have selected, because you'll be able to see the hotel because it says current selection, and then it'll say current above the pricing. And let's expand the room categories. Let's say they want to upgrade it to the Accelerate Junior Suite Ocean View King. All right, so it's a $244 increase. If you see a minus sign, that means it's lower. So that's going to be how you're going to be able to tell if it's lower by doing that lower price guarantee. So that's really up to you. If you want to make the most money out of things, what you can do is, depending on how many bookings you have, you can go in every week and check it, and then add it back as an agency fee if you choose to. Some people do that. Even if it's paid in full, if you add it back as an agency fee, it's still going to be a zero balance. So let's say they want to upgrade that room category. You just hit select. For some crazy reason, this isn't allowing me to select anything. All right, so let's try something else. Let's go. So same thing if they want to change hotels. Let's see if we can change hotels. Okay, it's just sitting there. It's not allowing to change hotels. Let's retrieve our reservation and see if we can do it that way. All right, so I'm going to retrieve my reservation number. Hit retrieve.
I think we got away from that this year because no one had time to do it.
So again, we're going to go back down to modifications, change component. I'm just going to select a different property and see if I'm going to have any other issues. I apologize for this. Alright, we'll click on hotels. Let's do something completely different than an AM property. Let's do Ocean Riviera Paradise. Let's say they want to do the junior suite. Oh, that went down $1,000. So let's wait for this to update. I'm just waiting for the filter to show the hotels available so I know it's updated. There we go. Where was that property? Ocean Riviera something. There it is. Hit select. There we go. So it'd be the same process as changing your room category. You just expand your room categories, hit select. Alright, so one thing I noticed is my travel protection fell off. Because anytime you change travel protection or properties, sometimes the travel protection will fall off. So one thing I always do is up here, right under where it says total package price, it says modification in progress. You can click on original itinerary and see what was on there. Yeah. So it could be transfers fell off, it could be travel protection fell off. You would just go in there and add it back on. I'm going to do it from the checkout page and go that route. So let's say they wanted to remove transfers. Well, you can just hit remove. So it doesn't matter the component, is as long as you go into that specific area, you can change your hotels, you can add features, remove features. So let's say they wanted to remove those transfers but add private transfers. Just click on features. You can use your filters for ground transportation. And all right, private transfer, $155. Let's add that to my cart. All right, and anytime, let's say you want to add a agency fee after the booking, you would have to be into this screen as well. So we can go into our booking administration and do it if you choose to here. It's just otherwise, if you're not in the availability page, which we're at, it's not going to allow you to even add it. So just keep that in mind. Yep. Or even if you book airfare only, because we don't pay a commission out on air only outside of the charter flights. You can. A lot of it's not really worth it for you. Yeah. What do you mean there's a fee? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. All right, so we're just going to change this real quick. All you would just go to checkout. And anytime you make a change, let's wait for that checkout screen. Okay, computer, let's go. No, come on. It's thinking. All right, error occurred. Let's see here. Can I change it? Yeah, I should be able to change it. All right, so we have our new hotel. Let's decline travel protection, or you can add it. Let's go ahead and add it. Right. Anytime you make any changes, you're going to have to click where it says, I've read and explained the terms, and then complete itinerary change. So if you're in this screen and then the customers don't want to make the change, you just retrieve reservation or get out of it. Nothing's going to change until you actually hit complete itinerary change. So those are some of the basic reservations or modifications that you're going to be able to do yourself. It'll save you time instead of calling in, especially during peak season. Instead of waiting 30 minutes or so, whatever the whole time may be. Hey, I can just go in there and update it. Some people like to do it. Just wait, they can get other stuff done, but personally, I wouldn't like to. All right, so do you have any questions so far? Okay. So from here, what I'm going to do is now we're going to go ahead and look at the multiple destinations and the open job. So we would just go down under our Book Now area. Actually, let's do advanced search. We'll just show you the advanced search page. We're not going to go ahead and book anything though. So you would put your departing from and to. So let's do Cabo this time. Select your travel dates. Let's just do something December. So here's kind of some filters for you. So if you click on flight, you have the option to set shop by price or schedule. Shop by pricing is going to match up the least expensive classes of service. So there are times where all the airline's flights will not pull because those classes of service don't match each other. So they won't pull. If you hit by shop by schedule, you can specifically select classes of service. This is great for if you have a price match. So you can know for sure that you're selecting the class of service. You have the options to sort by your airline, number of stops, departure, and return time. It's not going to let you select your cabin fare or your bulk or published rates. You'll see that when we get to that in the next screen. If you do your hotel here, what you can do is this is where you can offset those hotels. So we have our flights up here, the 18th through the 23rd. Let's say they only need 3 nights hotel but 5 nights airfare. Okay, well, I need to check out on the 21st. All right, change that. Or if you want a 1 night, or I think it's a 2-night minimum, you can change that as well. Or if they needed to arrive later, you can just change that there. The one thing is, if your flights are the 7 nights, you're not going to be able to have your hotel for 12 nights. Things along that line. You can't have longer hotel than you have airfare. So for this one, we have the 18th through the 21st for the land. So let's go ahead and hit search. It'll look a little bit different when this pulls up. This one won't take too long to go over. Okay, so it's going to pull up your flights first instead of your hotel first. You have your search options on the left-hand side, but you can also filter it right here. So if you click on carrier name, it'll go alphabetically. If you click on departs, it'll go earliest departure. If you click on arrives, earliest arrival, number of stops and layover. If you click on that, it'll go 0, 1, 2, etc. You can click on where it says best price for the best pricing, or you can click on where it says view class. You can select specific classes of service. So I agree, but the reason why we have this is A, for price matching, because the classes of service have to match. B, a lot of airlines, sometimes customers may have points that they can upgrade their flights or seatings that are required to be booked in a specific class of service. So if, let's say they need to be in Vietjet Victor class of service, you can just click on V Victor. Then no. So you would be able to book the flights in whatever class of service is needed, and then the customers would upgrade with the airline directly. So you can match up your class as a service. So be Victor. Now we're going to go ahead and hit price selected flights. And let's see if there's a bulk fare available. Okay, so there's a bulk fare and a published fare available. So in this case, the bulk fare is a little bit more expensive than a published rate. So a published fare is basically something like, in this case, we have American Airlines. If you go into American Airlines system, that's what it is. So basically, it's just like straight going onto American Airlines system. So that's a published fare. A bulk fare is basically, we have a different contracted fare where it could be more, it could be less, but most bulk fares have a lower deposit. So for American, it's a $200 per person deposit without travel protection. If you did a published fare, the full flights would be due in full. It gives you a little bit longer of a time to pay that deposit. So because we're outside of 47 days, it'll give us a 3-day payment hold. We can make that reservation holder for 3 days. If they had to cancel, it's a $200 cancel fee instead of the airfare being non-refundable. So basically all it is it's a contracted fare. You'll get more commission on it too. Bulk fare. Yep, so some published fares you might not make any commission on those. How that works, it all depends on if we make commission from that ticket, we pass it on to you. If we're not making anything on the ticket, we can't pass that on to you. A bulk fare, because it's contracted, we get a little bit different of a rate possibly. We get commission on it, so we can pass it on to you as well. So bulk fare, it's a little bit easier for you to make more money with it. So, and most of them will. Delta, American, the standard carriers typically have the lower rate, like carriers like Sun Country or JetBlue. They are non-refundable bulks. So those would be pay in full. You still have to pay those flights in full at time of booking, unless they have that travel protection. That travel protection offers a lower deposit. So let's say because this one's not much different, you want to offer them the bulk fare, you just hit the select for the bulk. If there is no bulk option, it'll go straight to this screen right here. So it'll automatically pull up Hub. So you can see our flights are the 18th of December through the 23rd, and our hotel is the 18th through the 21st. So that's how you would offset that hotel date, if you choose to. All right, do you have any questions on that? Because we did a shop by schedule option. So if we go back down to advanced search and just keep it on the shop by price option, you'll still get this page here. Yeah, it's just when you get to that next screen, it's a different layout for the shop by schedule. So let's go ahead and do a multiple destination. What I'll do for the multiple destination is I'll do a multiple destination. I'll just do Europe as an example. And then we can go back in and do that OpenJAW. Yeah. You're not going to be able to do multiple destinations on that advanced search page, but if you go to the multiple destinations page or the advanced search page, you can get to one or the other. So it's pretty much the same thing. It's just the advanced search, you can't get to multiple destinations without clicking on the multiple destinations radio button. So you have your regions that you can choose. So typically it's going to be Hawaii, US, Mexico, Caribbean, or Canada. You have Asia, Costa Rica, Europe, Panama, and South Pacific. So we're going to do Europe multi-stop. All right, so let's go depart from the East Coast, just because I know they get better flights. So we're going to select our travel dates. Let's go February 11th, 5 nights. So here's where you're going to put your destination. So let's go London first. Because we selected air and hotel, it does not give us the option to deselect that flight for the intercontinental flights or the over-the-water flights. It does give you the option. They might not need a hotel in that first destination. You can deselect that if you choose to. Same thing with car rental. You have your filter options for your hotel below if you choose to. My recommendation is I do not use this filter on the main search page, just because if you search for a specific hotel and it's not available, it will give you an error message. I'd use the filters within that search tool once you get to the next page. So then you have destination 2. So we're going from point A, which is destination 1, and we got to go to point B, which is destination 2. So let's do Paris. Charles de Gaulle. All right, so are we going to need a flight from London to Paris? Okay, it's selected, but if we don't need it, you're going to deselect it. So in this case, I know they have a Eurostar rail, so I'm going to use that option rather than a flight. Do they need a hotel in destination 2? Yes or no? Okay, if you need it, it's already selected. If not, deselect it. Same thing with rental car. Do they need it? Yes or no? So here's where you can add a destination if you choose to. So on the multiple destination search, you are required a minimum of 2 stops. So if they need to remove the destination, you can just click on remove destination if you need to. All right, and below is your return flight. So this is the screen for that OpenJAW to where you can select a different city to return to. I'm not going to do it on this screen. After we do our search here, I'm going to show you how to do that just with a single stop. So we're going to keep this at New York. You have your additional flight options here, airline, cabin preference, and stops. Let's go ahead and hit search. So the layout of the multiple destinations is a little bit different than the single stop. It goes with the flow a little bit easier, so you'll notice like when it pulls up, so let's wait for it to pull up. Mm-hmm. And then 0 night for however long that cruise is. I mean, we can go over that if you would like to, if you're not real comfortable with it, but it seems like you got a pretty good understanding of it now. And you know what, I think it's a great option because cruises are pretty popular these days. And instead of saying, you know what, go to the airlines for your flight, I'll get your hotel for you or whatever it may be, you can get that package. And you get your commission on that package. It comes towards your year-end numbers. And that way you can save that booking portion of it. Cruises are big. Mm-hmm. So you can do that in the system. So I'm glad you actually utilize that already. So I am not going to really worry about selecting what flights and stuff like that. A couple things I just kind of want to go over with that though. If you see in red, like a arrival time in red, that means it's a next day arrival. The system will automatically offset that hotel to account for that at the checkout page. So let's say we select that next day arrival one. So the layout's going to look a little bit easier because it goes from your flights then your hotel. All right, so let's do that 7:20 p.m. return. Hit select. I'm not going to really go over the hotel portions of it because it's the same thing as selecting a different hotel. But we'll go in there so you can see it. One thing I kind of want to point out is a lot of those Europe destinations, we are offering B&Bs now. And you can search by literally clicking and typing in B&B. And see if anything pulls up. So that's why my filter hasn't even come back yet, so it might take a second. Typically, that's where we see the biggest need for them. Alright, so I'm just waiting for this. So, okay, so we got 425 hotels. Let's wait for this to update. Alright, well, it's stuck again. Great. I went too quick. Oh, there we go. There we go. Now it's starting to move. So if you start typing stuff in, so B, and it'll give you options for a B&B if it's there. So London, it doesn't look like there is any. But let's go and kind of look at something else too. So you'll see where it says published hotels. This is going to be a more restrictive, so it might have a more strict cancel policy. You're also not going to get your higher commission. It's going to lower your commission on those published hotels because that's basically like booking through the Hotel Direct. So you'd want to find something that shows, oh, here's something real quick. So this hotel specifically is non-refundable. So that might be something you want to stay away from. So you'll see something that says contracted hotels. So you're going to get your normal contracted hotel commission on this. So for international, for you, it would be 15%. So, yes. So for international, I think you're up to 15%. So you get 15% on this hotel compared to a published hotel, which you'd get 5%. All right, so let's say you selected your hotel in London already. Now we can go to features. All right, so let's wait for that to update. There we go. So you have your rail options here, if you choose to. So this one's a Eurostar Premier Class, London to Paris. You just select a date. So let's do the 17th because that's when they're going over to Paris. What was that? I'm sorry. We offer them in quite a bit of locations within Europe. So I'm just going to show you how to book it. I'm not actually going to make the reservation, but I'll show you what you would need to do. So you can look at the profile, and it'll tell you the information here. So there's 2 services offered. So there's a Premier Class and a off-peak, I should say, or mid-peak, which is like 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So you can look through the profile if you need to. It'll tell you the passes, what the cancellation policy for the passes are, and anything like that. In this case, you go to the Rail Europe website if you have any other information. So I'm going to add that to my cart. All right, so let's go collapse that. Let's go to hotels in Paris. I want to see if one of those B&B pulls for us. I've seen them quite a bit in Italy. Let's see if Paris has them. Right, let's wait for that to update. All right, computer, let's go. Sorry, this is just taking so long. Come on, computer. You can't see it, but I'm shaking my fist at it. And all I want to do is see if there's a B&B available. So the multi-stop, it does take a little bit longer because it's searching for more components. So, I mean, it's expected, but still. All right, well, it's just going to sit there for a minute or two, but again, you can search for B&Bs. Just type out B, literally and A and D, B, and if something pulls up for those, it pulls. So, just for personal experience, I've seen a lot of them in Italy. All right, so I'm just going to go to checkout and see if it'll allow me to go to checkout real quick, because I want to show you when you have your rail options on here, it won't allow you to actually make a reservation without actually putting information in there. And I'll show you that. So again, you have your booking administration. If you want to add fees, you can select a different room category from the checkout page. It tells you your hotel advisories, what maybe check-in instructions would be, what the hotel cancel policy is, if there's a resort fee, per night resort fee, so forth like that. So we're going to scroll down here a little bit. And if you notice on a rail, it has an asterisk here. So anything that has that red asterisk means you have to provide information at time of booking. So in this case, you would have to put in what your actual time that you want. So this is off peak. So it's time between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. So let's say they want a 1 p.m. departure. So what we do is when we book these tickets, and we book them typically around 45 days prior, we'll get something that's 1 p.m. So it might be 12:55 or 1:15, but as close to 1 p.m. as possible for you. So that's just something for us to know. So when we book those tickets for you, we know what time to book. Do you have any questions on that? Okay. All right. So yes. So you would book those Europe rail passes on the reservation. So right around 45 days is when we actually go to Eurostar or whatever, maybe Italia or Rail or whatever it may be, and actually book the tickets. Because once those tickets are booked, they're non-refundable. So we want to give you guys some flexibility if you have to change things outside of those dates. All right, so now let's go ahead and do that open jaw. So that will be under your multiple destinations again. And we're just going to keep it as Hawaii and US. So you're going to put in your normal origin city. So let's do Dallas. And let's say they're going to Miami. And let's say they're doing 5 nights Miami. But they're going to go visit their family back in Houston. So they don't need to fly back to Dallas anymore. So right here, it shows that there's another destination, but I don't need to go to another destination. So all you have to do is put in your same destination that you had for destination 1. So in this case, Miami. You would put it down to a 0-night stay and deselect everything. So we won't need a hotel, we won't need a rental car. So now we technically have a multi-stop itinerary where we can change that city that we're going back to. So let's say they're going back to the Houston Intercontinental. Yeah, go right ahead. Oh, that's perfectly okay. Good for him. It's a better it's a better investment. Yeah. Yep. So all you do is hit search, and this will work the same way if you actually have another destination as well. You would just put in whatever number of nights. It's just you need those two stops to actually get the function to where you can go back to a different city. Right, and we don't actually have to really do much here outside of just kind of show you how it looks. So we're just going to select this United flight at 5:30. And we're going to select that 6:55 p.m. return. And so now we can see we're leaving from Dallas, going to Miami, back from Miami over to Houston. You have your first destination, which is your hotel. And this is a non-refundable hotel, so it says right off the bat. And destination 2, there's just nothing there. So it's just a way for you to actually be able to do these types of bookings in the system yourself. And you might get those quite a bit with cruises too. I can imagine that might be the case. So that's how you would do those open jaw reservations. So again, you can do however many destinations. So if they needed another destination after Miami, you would just select whatever number of nights, go down to that return flight, and just put in that new airport that you need to fly back to. So that's an open jaw. Do you have a question, or do you want me to go over it again? Okay, perfect. Yeah, and just yeah. Yep. And yeah, that's I can imagine it's pretty big for the actual cruises. And remember, we actually have an education page too. Instead of you having to putz around in Vax and just kind of find everything in Vax and play with it on your own, that education page will give you a step-by-step, like 2-minute like tutorial on how to do it. Have you seen the education page? And personally, I think that's the best way to learn. You get in there and you do it. So I will actually put that education link actually in, and where to find it in the actual email that I send over. So that's what I have for you today. What's going to happen next is I'm going to send an email and over to you, and Anthony's going to be the one taking the next step and going over with you the groups options. So we have FIT groups, or basically a groups your way. So it's just making FIT bookings and backs. No contract needed, just a minimum of 5 rooms. And then we also have a contracted groups option. So that's a minimum of 10 rooms. And we actually have a really cool dashboard with it too. And he's going to go over all the dashboard options with you and everything like that, and go over the plus and minuses of the groups your way option, which is the FIT, the flexible groups, versus the actual contracted groups with you. Yes. So let's do a retrieve trip bookmark. It actually doesn't work for FunJet. The save itinerary, no. So the only option for the bookmarks is actually on Blue Sky Tours at the moment. So what it is, it's kind of like a pre-packaged itinerary. So yeah, so let's go back to our Vax page and let's select Blue Sky Tour. So this is only for travel agents, and it's Hawaiian South Pacific. So if we click Blue Sky Tours and hit trip bookmarks, let's hit search. So we have 5 options for you. Yeah, so in this case, let's do romance on a budget. Let's click on that. It kind of gives you your departing from, so let's say Dallas-Fort Worth, and gives you departure dates, 2 adults, and if you hit search, well, that's a goofy looking screen. Cannot be found. Let's go back. I'm having so many issues today with my computer. Yeah, so essentially what it is, it's like a prepackaged thing. It's just you select your flights. It's got prepackaged. It's got your hotels already selected for you. That's essentially what it is. Right now, it's not going to work for me right now, but it's only available for Blue Sky Tours right now. But it's a neat little feature where, hey, I just kind of want something inexpensive to Hawaii. Me and my wife, okay, well, let's do this. So you have those 5 options. It looked like I saw something on there for family, romance, then a couple South Pacific options. So just keep that in mind if you ever have a Hawaii thing. But that's all it's available for right now, is on Blue Sky. So FunJet doesn't have it at the moment. So yeah, so from here, what I will do is I will go ahead. I'll render the video. I'll send you the link for the video, so you can give it over to Rainey, or if she wants to kind of review everything that we did. I will, when I email you the link, I will CC Anthony on it as well. So from there, what will happen is Anthony will reach out to you via email to see what's going to be best for you to actually schedule another training. And so he'll go over those groups options with you. He's a great guy, good sense of humor, you'll enjoy it. All right. Well, if you need anything too, you have my email. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to assist with whatever questions or anything that you have. All right. And so yes, yeah. So I'll go ahead. Before I do wrap everything up, do you have any other questions that you want me to go over with you? Okay. Well, perfect. So again, reach out if you have any other questions. If you think of something down the road or later on, I'm here for you. Whatever you need. Oh, you're most welcome. And again, thanks for taking the time out of your day to spend with me. All right. Take care, Dina, and I'll talk to you soon, hopefully. Well, I will stop it.